He's right. He should want to be in a dome. Why would you want to play in the Windy City?
Well, I understand it. He didn't have a choice. But if you're not sure what we're talking about, here was Justin Fields, who was a guest on Part of My Take podcast. And he was talking about the weather, and he was very honest.
The thing is about that weather is like when it's that cold, you have to bundle up, like put a bunch of layers on and stuff like that. And your body's cold, so you're not warmed up. So I feel like way slower in that cold weather. So it's tough. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, you of course want to try to stay warm on the sideline and stuff like that. But I mean, it's hard to stay warm in that weather. Warm-ups and stuff like that, your hands freezing up, so it's tough. I hope we just get a dome. I don't care if we're at Soldier Field. I don't care if we're in Arlington Heights. I hope we get a dome on that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, but I mean, even if you want a dome, and everyone who lives in a cold weather city or is a fan of a cold weather team, if you probably give you some truth serum, maybe you do want to play in a dome. You don't have to worry about the wind and the rain and the snow, but everyone else can say that. The quarterback can't say that, Perloff. He just said, I feel slower in the cold weather. When you play in freaking Chicago, that is something the quarterback cannot say.
But don't we rip athletes who say nothing in interviews? He was just being honest. I don't know. It feels if you're going to judge Justin Fields, you should judge him for the way he is every day in the building, as a teammate, all these other things. Something he said on an interview on Part of My Take cannot be a real, in my mind, cannot be a real factor in how you're looking at team building here for Chicago. Yeah, I understand. Okay, maybe it's not ideal, but it can't be like, if you're a Bears fan, you're like, oh, I don't want him anymore. That can't possibly be the reason.
No, but I'm not all that inspired right now. If I'm thinking about what is the one thing, if you're a cold weather team, you want to hope your team is built for that weather. This is my lament all the time about the Buffalo Bills. They're a team that plays in cold weather that's built like they should be in a dome. They have no run game. The run defense is not nearly good enough. All the things that happen in cold weather. And so that bothers me. Josh Allen can never come out and say, I don't want to play in the snow. Aaron Rodgers can never come out and say, I don't want to play in cold weather. I feel slower in cold weather. You don't have to be a blah, totally vanilla interview, but I think he was giving you a real window into the soul there. And I think the reason why this is even more interesting is not just because a quarterback of the Chicago Bears just outright said, I don't feel like I play well in cold weather. But he said, but now they have the number 1 overall pick. Yeah. And this all plays in because the Bears are now in the driver's seat for the 2023 NFL draft. And this regime that is in the front office is not the same one that drafted Justin Fields. And I think there's a thought out there by not a ton of people, but certainly some vocal people, including former GMs who are now on TV and others, that perhaps Justin Fields is available, or that the Bears should trade him and they should take Bryce Young with the number 1 overall pick.
So let's say they do this. Yeah. They trade Justin Fields to Carolina for a second-round pick. Now you have Bryce Young.
A second-round pick? That seems low, right?
Oh, no, I don't know. For a trade? For a guy who's already 2 years into his rookie deal?
But it's still on the rookie deal. You don't have to sign him right away.
Oh, do you think he'd be a top 10 pick?
I don't know if he'd be top 10, but maybe a late first rounder? I don't know. I'm not sure.
If you're in the late first round, then you probably already have a quarterback.
Well, make your point anyway. I didn't mean to get sidetracked on the draft compensation.
So Bryce Young is going to be your quarterback in Chicago?
I mean, that doesn't sound right either, right?
No, certainly C.J. Stroud, who's kind of like Justin Fields light, is going to be your quarterback. Or I guess you could go Will Levis, but he doesn't. He has not put up the numbers that say number 1 overall pick. Anthony Richardson, same thing.
Yeah, right.
I don't see the plan B here.
I don't know if I do either.
Can't be Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. So you're going to have more of a pocket quarterback in bad weather, a guy who doesn't run nearly as much as Fields. Well, nobody really runs as much as Fields, and he's 30 pounds lighter.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. First of all, this was probably a slightly damning comment, but if you're the front office, you cannot honestly make your decision based on that comment, can you?
So I don't even know. I wonder if this is even a two-way street. Is this not just, hey, maybe this is a little bit eyebrow raising, like, man, why would you say that you don't play well in cold weather? You don't like it to play in cold weather when you're the quarterback of the Bears. And even if we get a new stadium, this isn't going to happen for years. Like, they closed on land. The Bears bought land in the suburbs of Chicago, but they just closed on that today. You'd have to get public financing to build a multi-billion-dollar stadium. Like, this doesn't happen in the snap of a finger. It's not going to happen on Justin Fields' rookie deal. So you're going to play in these elements for several more years. But is it the two-way street? Is it the front office could be alarmed by this, or is it does Justin Fields want to be traded? I mean, is this him? Maybe I don't know how Machiavellian Justin Fields is. Maybe he's just being honest here. Or is he trying to put it out there like, listen, I don't play well in the cold weather. Maybe you'd be suited to trade me and maybe I can go play somewhere else.
Yeah, to me, that feels like you're reading into
maybe I am. I don't know.
Okay, so you don't know.
I don't know. I'm listening to that comment, and I've never heard another guy who plays in cold weather say that.
Okay. I'd be surprised if they trade him this offseason because I don't think there's a great option unless they're really tanking for next year. And
Caleb
maybe, I mean, here's the thing. They need the team around him at this point. Or Bryce Young, they need players. Their defense is terrible. And they would love, I mean, would they be thrilled to get Jalen Carter in there? It's the Georgia lineman. They need somebody on defense. They can't rush the passer at all. And they can't stop the run at all.
Yep.
So Jalen Carter would be perfect because they really can't stop the run. So they do that, and then they have more cap space than anyone in the league. They build in wide receivers. I think you have to go for it with Justin Fields because Justin Fields is very promising because of his running ability. And I know he says he doesn't like cold weather, but if it's perfect for the cold weather.
That's what I think.
It's like having Michael Vick,
right.
And he was he's close to Vick. I mean, he's probably straight line faster than Lamar Jackson. He's not as shifty as Lamar Jackson, but he's an incredible runner. One, I'd say top 5 of all time. I don't even think that's a stretch because he almost set the rookie record for rushing yards.
Until he got hurt and missed some games.
Yeah, and I saw this, you know that stat about how many miles per hour?
Yeah.
He went over 20 miles an hour 9 times or something.
That's crazy.
He's insane. He ran a 4.4 or something in the combine. He's just insane, and it's such a rare skill. I think the Bears they have 2 more years on his rookie deal, at least. I think they build around that, have a running quarterback, run team, better defense, and go for it. I mean, also, could you do this for him? What Jalen Hurts got A.J. Brown. Give him your version of A.J. Brown. Maybe trade for Hopkins. Somebody who, with a huge catch radius, will help him improve as a passer. Boom, you're done. If you start over with Bryce Young, I mean, that seems really dicey. Really, really dicey to me. Just because I feel like in that team, Bryce Young's going to get killed there.
That's what I think. I mean, can you guess how many sacks Justin Fields took last year? And granted, he runs around, and so maybe he's going to take more sacks out of bounds, stuff like that. But can you guess? He led the league. I'll give you a...
Yeah, but I mean, he dropped back and he had no idea where to throw the ball.
No, I know, but
so I don't
the
even
number
care.
was startling to me.
How many?
55.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not... I mean, that's all on him.
No, I understand. It's a lot of sacks, but you're wondering, like, could Bryce Young get the ball out quicker? You know, it's a totally different type of player.
I don't think that would have any impact on Bryce Young. That's like, I mean, didn't David Carr had 72 in 16 games?
Crazy. And we hold that up as like the do not do. Like the mortal sin of a young quarterback who's getting sacked that much, ruins their career.
Fields, I'll bet you Fields held on to the ball longer than any quarterback in the NFL. I'm positive he did. Except maybe Lamar. The two of them just never throw the ball. They just say, I'm going to make a play. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I think I understand your comments, but to trade him over this would be so. If I were the Bears, I'd go for it and try something here with Fields because Bryce Young is not the answer. Will Levis is not the answer, and going with a veteran is definitely not the answer.
There are not a lot of great options here, but this just landed on your desk. You know, you're the general manager of the Chicago Bears.
This is nothing,
and you just ignore it.
Beyond ignore it. An interview on part of my take to ignore a comment to the press is. Unless you're right and he's like got some Machiavellian plan to get out of there.
Yeah.
I didn't even everything that is said in these interviews is so stupid anyway. I can't imagine that anything said in an interview is going to affect Ryan Poles' strategy.
I don't know if it'll affect his strategy, but did you listen to that and think that Justin Fields was lying? No.
No, and
right, you think he's telling the truth.
He didn't even need to tell me that. Who wants to play in the freezing cold?
Okay, but it's one thing to also say, listen, you know, it'd be great if we played in a dome, whatever. To say I don't feel like I'm fast. Now, listen, we look and watch him, and he looks plenty fast to us. Yeah. But he doesn't feel like he's playing his best. Now, that can mean a lot of – first of all, it's a crazy admission. But secondly – it's okay. So what has to change there? Maybe you're right. Getting a wide receiver more than Chase Claypool and really trying to put some weapons around him. Of course, but they didn't do that last year.
But they actually
in the offseason
they freed up all their cap space for this year. They have $98 million. So last year they were trying to shed cap space.
Right.
So they didn't do anything.
Trading Roquan Smith.
Yeah. They didn't do anything. So they're all set up for this offseason, next offseason. So now they can build a team. It's a new regime. We'll see. I just would warn against. I guess there's a thought to start over with Bryce Young. I just don't see that as a fit in any way.
I don't see it as a fit either. I'm not saying it's a 1-for-1, like that you could trade away Fields and you bring in Bryce Young and like, okay, my work here is done. I've built a contender. Like, no chance. Not at all. I think Fields is built for this team, but it doesn't seem like he thinks he's built for this team. Yeah. He doesn't want to play in this weather. And at some point, doesn't that end up revealing itself on the field and end up becoming something not great for your team? I've just never heard it. I've been a fan of a cold weather team my whole life. I've never heard one of the 1,000 quarterbacks that the Bills have had since I've been alive, and there have been a million. None of them have ever had the guts to say, I don't play well in the cold. They would lie about that. You have to. It's a mindset, Perloff, the cold.
I don't know. I feel like you're taking a little comment and turning it into the Declaration of Independence.
I mean,
can we hear it again, by the way? Because Justin Fields seems like he's just shooting the crap with those guys.
Credit to them. I mean, Big Cat is your friend, and he's a big-time Chicago Bears fan.
Yeah, he's more excited about Justin Fields than he's ever been about any player.
So and when you're listening to this, after Fields says, I don't feel like I'm as fast in the cold weather, you hear Big Cat go, hear it.
The thing is about that weather is like when it's that cold, you have to bundle up, like put a bunch of layers on and stuff like that, and your body's cold, so you're not warmed up. So I feel like way slower in that cold weather, so it's tough.
Ooh.
But yeah, I mean, you of course want to try to stay warm on the sideline and stuff like that, but I mean, it's hard to stay warm in that weather. Warm ups and stuff like that, your hands freezing up, so it's tough. I hope we just get a dome. I don't care if we're at Soldier Field. I don't care if we're in Arlington Heights. I hope we get a dome on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to. Yeah, I didn't sense any of I want out of Chicago. In fact, he did say, like, hey, I want to be part of the future as you build a dome. It just didn't seem to me like, oh, I want out of here. No. Yeah, and obviously that's factually true. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers should want out of Green Bay because look what happened when they played San Francisco in the playoffs, and it was an absolute ice storm and disaster.
Why don't more people wear the Tom Brady scuba suit? Brady, all those years, he told you he's wearing some kind of scuba suit underneath his uniform in New England, and it doesn't seem like anyone else does it.
You know, one thing about that division, too, they have two domes in there. So you get, at least Rodgers had those two warm games.
But it's the opponent.
The opponent, yeah, but I'm sure not for Rodgers.
Well,
Rodgers won pretty much all those games. So I think Fields can make this work. I didn't sense, just at his tone, I didn't sense of, oh, man, they better figure this out or I'm out. I felt more like, I'm just talking. But he is right, by the way. I'm sure you could track quarterbacks' performances in cold weather go way down. How about Josh Allen? I'm curious. How does he do in the cold compared to the warm?
Well, I mean, he's a running quarterback, so that's always part of his skill. He's good in the cold weather, but I wish that the Bills would build a dome because they love going for the big explosive plays. They love throwing the ball downfield to Diggs and to Gabe Davis. And when you have wind gusts that can be, you never know, 10 miles an hour, 15, 20, whatever it is, plus the snow, it doesn't lend itself for those big explosive plays.
All right, bottom line. You're the Bears GM. What do you do this offseason?
I think I have a conversation with Justin Fields about how do we get you to be able to play in the cold and feel like you're better in the cold. A lot of it, again, it's a mindset. Yeah. You've got to feel confident playing in, negative degrees. It's unfortunate he didn't choose to go to the Bears, but this is his life playing in a city where the nickname is the Windy City. So he's going to have to deal with it. So that's number one. And I do try to build around him. I'm not throwing away Justin Fields or trying to trade him, but I think a lot of people out there believe he could be available this offseason for the right price. What about you?
Oh, my God. I'm not even thinking about it. There's no way I'm taking in one of this class of rookie. I'm building around. You have, I think, $98 million or something. Definitely bring in a receiver, bring in everything, and just replicate the Ravens. Bring in Greg Roman. He's floating around there.
He could do that. I know, but you always tell me that you don't think the Ravens are a dangerous playoff team.
This is Chicago Bears. They're the worst team in the league. Yeah, I don't think that system is going to win you a Super Bowl, but I'll take a little of the Ravens magic.
Just making the playoffs would
it's funny, too, and I know we have to break. A lot of people say that Fields is not sustainable, this rushing. But if that's true, then is Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts sustainable?
I mean, it's the same question.
Yeah, that is a real issue. But if you don't think you can have a running quarterback in today's NFL, then maybe you move on. But if you could run like this, his special weapon of running is something the Bears have never had, and they have to be really interested in it.
Wasn't it in Chicago where Jalen Hurts hurt his shoulder?
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, listen, it's not like Philadelphia is very warm, but you fall in Soldier Field, and it hurts on that concrete underneath the
I'll tell you, that game was cold. In the second half of that game, Fields torched the Eagles. He could not be stopped.